Hello, 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 and welcome to the Babe Bulletin podcast, where we talk self-love, empowerment, boudoir, and anything else that makes us feel like a total babe. Today, we are falling into that anything else category. But before we get to that, I'm Alicia. I'm a boudoir photographer and a body liberation expert. And yesterday was the very first day of fall. So it kind of got me thinking about why so many of us love fall so much. What is it about this particular season that makes us feel so good? Right? I mean, I don't know about you, but I really love fall, and my husband loves fall, and I think most of my friends love fall, at least to a level that's more than spring and winter and things like that. So why? I figured there'd probably be some kind of psychological reason for it, and I got curious, and I did all of the Googling so that you do not have to. So on today's episode, I'd like to dive into why we love fall as much as we do, and why does it make us feel so good? Well, there's a lot of reasons for it, actually. And the first one that I came across was that fall represents a fresh start. It's something called a temporal landmark. And I was like, what the heck is a temporal landmark? So I went and looked that up. And a temporal landmark is a significant point in time that promotes a break from the past and then a sense of renewal moving forward. So New Year's Eve. That's probably like the biggest temporal landmark I can think of, right? Everybody likes to start fresh going into the new year. But as seasons change, that's also a temporal landmark. And we feel like there's kind of new structure, there's a new way that we see and use time. And I came across a clinical psychologist, Dr. Yasmin Saad, who said that temporal landmarks divide life into distinct mental phases. They allow us to put in the past negative experience and propel a fresh outlook. It's just very funny that I came across this because that, I think, is exactly how I feel about this fall in particular. I didn't have a great summer. The last 3 months have been rough. They've been hard. They have been so mentally taxing. It's just been a really rough couple of months. And so going into fall, now that the air is getting a little bit crisper and I'm watching the leaves fall from my walnut trees, I feel a little more awake. I feel ready to take on the next season. I feel like a shift is happening. Like I'm not stuck in a crappy summer. We are moving forward with like good things are on the horizon. And I have not felt that way in a very long time. Well, in like 3 months. So this really spoke to me when I came across it. And I was like, oh, this is what I'm experiencing. And if you look into the research, it turns out that temporal landmarks really boost motivation. They really encourage us to pursue goals. And in fall, we're conditioned to associate this time of year with going back to school. So there's already this motivation in us from a very young age that's like, it's fall. It's time to learn. It's time to grow. It's time to meet new people. It's time to go to new places. It's time to have new opportunities. And a lot of that started when we were, in kindergarten? So I just thought that was really cool. Another psychologist, Ronit Levitt, said that there's this feeling of excitement and promise in the air. And I was like, yeah, there kind of is. I can get behind that. So one reason that we love fall is because it is a temporal landmark, but there's a lot of other reasons as well. And as I kept researching this, I found that fall also means like structure. And during the summer, there's a lot happening. I think all of us can raise our hand and be like, yeah, gosh, summers are so busy. You've got vacation, you've got unpredictable schedules, just all of this stuff is happening. It feels like all of the time. There's never enough time to do all of the things that you want to do in summer. And then you get to fall, and there's comfort in getting back to a steady routine. We know what's coming. We don't have to really stress about who is where and what. Sometimes there's new stressors that come to that, but for the most part, like, kids are back in school, you've got the routine, you know what to expect, and that's really beneficial as well. There are other mental health benefits too, like the cooler temperatures and the gorgeousness of all of the changing leaves. That encourages us to spend time outside in nature. And I have talked about this many times, including on this podcast. Being outside plays a huge role in your mental health, even in how you feel about yourself and your own body. There's a big connection between being outside in nature and being happy and content. It honestly just kind of improves, I don't know, how you feel about your life's purpose. So when it's not 90 degrees and incredibly humid, we want to be outside. I know for me and my husband, walking around and hearing like the crunchy leaves underneath our feet and like having a warm beverage in our hand, it's a go-to staple for us this time of year. I love walking around with a warm tea and just enjoying being outside. And there's such a sensory experience that happens when we're outside as well, which I think plays into why we love it so much. You've got warm colors, golden light, those crunchy leaves I talked about. All of that is very calming. Being outside during fall, it's like the best form of ASMR, in my opinion. It just sounds and feels wonderful. And then when you're inside, you've got cozy textures like knit blankets and soft scarves, and you get to throw on your warm, cozy sweater, and all of that creates this very tactile form of comfort, not to mention a sense of safety. That's something that I came across. When we're wrapped up in warm, cozy blankets, we feel very safe and very secure. It's also very reminiscent of like being a kid. Then you've got the whole sensory element of like the scents that we have. Pumpkin spice, apple cider, all of these are very tied to memory and nostalgia. And all of this is having a really beneficial impact on our brains and our mental health. So, in addition to the cooler weather being great for getting outside, apparently it also helps a lot with clarity of thinking, in contrast to like brain fogginess that can happen with warmer temperatures. And that goes back to something that Dr. Saad said, which I hadn't really ever thought of before. Like, do I think clearer when the temperature is better? I don't know, might be something to think about, because apparently that's a thing. Another psychological aspect to fall that I came across, going back to the cozy knits, right, and the warmth and everything. As much as I would love for every person to feel confident in a bathing suit, confident in a tank top, feeling good in your body wearing little booty shorts, I know that that is not the reality for a lot of people. We are building towards that. We're trying to get there. For a lot of people, comfort falls in being more covered up, and that's cool too. So for a lot of people, fall is the end of swimsuit season. It's end of the scary season where your body is out there, and if your body isn't out there, you're dealing with the heat and the uncomfortableness of a long sleeve or a capri pant or something like that. So actually, in the fall, people tend to feel more comfortable in their bodies and in their appearance because they get to wear more. They get to wear bulkier clothing. And that's actually beneficial for a lot of people. We might be going into a season right now that is more up your alley when it comes to clothing and comfort. And if that's the case, great. I'm so happy that we're going into that season. I love a comfy sweater. I am a huge fan of like sweatshirts and leggings. I will always get on board for that. And so if we're moving into a season where you feel better about your body because you can wear more clothing, I'm very happy then that we're moving into that season. You're listening to this podcast, so I'm gonna go out on a limb. You also want to feel better about your body when you're wearing less clothing, but we'll get there, right? It's baby steps. So if we are moving into fall and you feel better about your body in fall, then 10 out of 10, I'm stoked about it. I'm so happy that you get to feel better about your body for the next 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. I don't even know. In Wisconsin, winter feels never ending. But there's also more social acceptance around food and indulging. We're coming into like holiday season. Halloween is coming up. Folks like to indulge in Halloween candy. Me too. Give me a little mini Three Musketeers or like a Milky Way. Ooh, yes, please. And then you've got decadent fall foods as well. So there's less, it feels like there's maybe less body shame and pressure to diet in order to maintain a picture perfect beach ready body. Now we know that all bodies are good bodies. All bodies get to go to the beach. All bodies can do whatever the heck they want. But culturally and societally, it is true. You know, losing weight for the summer is a huge marketing tactic for gyms, medical weight loss, GLP-1s, all of that. But we're kind of moving into like hibernation mode, right? Where it's okay to have the pumpkin pie. It's okay to have the pumpkin pie anytime. Let's make that very clear. But at least culturally, there's a little more acceptance around indulging and enjoying those warm, delicious, amazing foods. And that tends to make people feel better about their bodies as well because we're talking less about dieting. And thank goodness for that. Let's try to do that all year round. But for now, let's at least enjoy it in the fall. And going back to the holiday thing, we're kicking off holiday season, right? So for a lot of people, that has very nostalgic tones to it. And it gets excited. We're excited for the coming months because Halloween is coming up and then Thanksgiving and then Christmas and then New Year's. And it's all very exciting for the next couple of months. So we have something to look forward to as we move into this new temporal landmark. And I don't know, there's just so much that makes our brains happy about the fall. Not to mention, if we start to think about mental health a little bit more as well, slowing down, that tends to be something that we do in the fall because our days are getting shorter. It's getting darker earlier, and that actually really bums me out, but that's okay. I'm totally not going to get seasonal depression this year. It's going to be fine. The shorter days mean we have to slow down, which is very healthy and combats burnout and overstimulation. Plus, we dig into cozy rituals like maybe you like reading by candlelight or you like sipping tea like I do. And that functions as a mindfulness practice, which also, you gotta love a mindfulness practice, right? Which is where you do something very intentionally. Plus, you get together with friends. We know that being around other people is extremely beneficial for mental health. Getting social is one of the best things that you can do for your brain. Even if you're an introvert, being social is really, really important. And that strengthens relationships and reduces loneliness. Loneliness, very bad for mental health. So all of these things are happening. Like, that's just the psychology of it, right? And that was probably a lot of info, but I think it's fascinating, right? Like, oh, why do I love fall? Because of all of these psychological reasons that maybe we don't even realize. There's the slowness of it. There's the routine of it. There is the nostalgic aspect. There's the body image aspect. All of this stuff is happening, and we probably don't even realize it in the moment. But that's why we love it so much. And then there's a physical element to fall as well. You've got lower stress hormones because we feel safe, we feel comfortable. You can take a breather. Those cortisol levels are coming down. I find that seasonal foods feel very comforting. And one note that I came across is that a lot of them are also full of hydration as well. Like, we love a soup We love a soup in my household. In fact, Dustin calls me the soup queen, and I do want that written on my tombstone, please. I will go down in history as the soup queen. But warm drinks as well, right? Cozy coffee, like a brown sugar espresso latte. Oh, so good. Tea and just like all of this deliciousness. Apple cider. I just made apple cider the other day. I only ever drink apple cider for like 2 months out of the year, and this is it. We're in it. That stuff is really good for digestion and, like I said, hydration. I had never really thought about that. But yeah, I think in the last month, I've made, oh God, like 6 soups already. So really good for your skin. We know water is important for our body. Good for your skin, good for your organs, good for you all around. Yeah, turns out that's something that we do in the fall that I hadn't really considered. And we're allowing, because we are resting a little bit more, because our days are shorter, rest is really important for immune function. And we need good immune systems going into cold and flu season. I was gifted several pounds of elderberries, and you better believe I made myself elderberry tonic and elderberry syrup, and like I'm ready for cold and flu season. Knock on wood, I don't get sick and none of you get sick. But we're going into it, which means our immune systems need to be functioning as best as they can, and rest is one of the ways that we do that. So there's mental benefits to fall, there's all of these physical benefits to fall, and it's just pretty. It's cozy. I am a huge fan. Not to mention there's just this cuteness and this coziness vibe. I love me a good cozy corner in my home with blankets and candles and little twinkle lights and pillows and all of that softness. I love a movie night. I love, like I said, soup making, nature walks, all of that. There tends to be more gratitude in the fall, which is also very good for our mental health. There's so many activities to do with your friends. So many low pressure get together moments. Apple picking, baking. I just went and had an outdoor picnic and watched a scary movie with a friend of mine. So there's so many ways to embrace all of this coziness and all of this warmth. And that's why we love it so much. I mean, am I an expert on why we love fall? I feel like I'm at least more of one now after all of this research, and so are you. So yeah, the next time you're out enjoying the cozy, the crisp air, the nice fall weather, and you're like, why do we really love this so much? Now you know. You got all of the information, and you can share it and sound like a genius with your friends and your family, because you know it now. So I want to leave you with a couple of reminders that fall coziness, not frivolous at all. As we have just learned from this episode, it's actually really, really powerful in nurturing joy and creating resilience. It's not silly or frivolous at all. And if you don't have some kind of cozy ritual to enjoy this week, I would encourage you to think of one. What can you do this week that leans into the warmth, the nostalgia, the routine? What could you do to get outside and enjoy the changing colors of the trees? Pick something and do it this week, okay? Before we get to our Babe of the Week, a couple of ways that you can support the podcast. Liking this episode and subscribing to the Babe Bulletin, of course, always extremely helpful, like the coolest thing that you could do. If you have someone that you think might be interested in the psychology behind why we love fall so dang much, please pass along this episode to them. The more ear holes we get on this bad boy, the better. The more self-love we can spread around. And that's the whole goal of this podcast at the end of the day. If you want to support the work that I am doing at the studio, you can find me at www.buxomboudoir.com. I am also Buxom Boudoir pretty much everywhere else on the internet. Find me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all over the place. You can find me, Buxom Boudoir. And then you can see what we're up to here at the studio. I'm excited for fall sessions because flannels start to come back. And I just love like the whole fall cozy vibe inside of the studio as well. So that's where you can find all of that information. And if during this podcast, when I mentioned the whole like diet culture tends to be less harsh in the fall, and you heard that and something went ding, oh, that's something that I struggle with, then I would encourage you to check out the Anti-Diet Starter Kit, which is going to help you heal your relationship with food so that you don't have guilt around indulging in treats any time of the year, not just in the fall, but any time of the year. Because I want you to have a better relationship with food. That leads to a better relationship with your body. So check that out as well. Now, moving on to the Babe of the Week. I was thinking about this and I'm like, who the heck would be a good pairing for an episode about fall psychology? Who could I possibly shout out as the Babe of the Week? So again, I'm doing some research. I'm getting curious, and I come across a woman named Amelia Simmons. Amelia Simmons created the first American cookbook for Americans back in 1798. At least, well, that's when the reprint was. Her book was called American Cookery, and she had 2 recipes inside of this cookbook for pumpkin pie. One of them had nutmeg and ginger in it, and then the other had allspice and ginger. So her cookbook is kind of like, I don't know, the birthplace of pumpkin spice in a way. It's a really, really cool cookbook because it was written by an American for American kitchens. At this time, you know, a lot of stuff was British. And it was really groundbreaking in introducing very uniquely American ingredients and techniques. So, pumpkin pie, for example, that was uniquely American. It was also the first known recipe for turkey, and then also the very first appearance of the word cookie in print. Oh, pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I tried to figure out like who invented this stuff, and there really isn't like, it doesn't seem like there's one person that you can really tie it back to, but her cookbook way back in the 1700s, kind of the first place where we're seeing pumpkin spice. So if you are digging a pumpkin spice latte right now, you can think of her. You can think of Amelia Simmons and thank her for the cookbook that she wrote back in 1796. Pretty cool stuff. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you being here. I hope you enjoy fall. I hope you feel like the changing weather is bringing you motivation. You feel excited about it. You're ready to take on the world. You're ready to get back into a routine. I'm excited for it. I hope you're excited for it as well. And of course, remember that your body is a good body and you deserve to be kind to it, all right? I will catch you all in the next episode. Bye!